Welcome back to the weekend. We have a lot more to cover on this huge news day, including the massive military parade set to roll down the streets of the nation's capital, and President Trump's alarming warning to anyone planning to test the event, and the rare sight of U.S. military forces deployed on U.S. soil as some 200 Marines arrive in Los Angeles amid protests against immigration raids. We'll get reaction from Democratic Congresswoman Judy Chu of California. But we begin with the two competing visions of America that will be on display over the course of the next few hours. Tonight, Washington, D.C. will host a military parade for the first time in more than 3 decades, when thousands of troops and dozens of tanks parade through downtown to celebrate the U.S. Army's 250th birthday, which just happens to also be President Trump's 79th birthday. Heavy security is up and around parts of the National Mall in anticipation of the large crowds of people expected to attend the $45 million parade. But in the hours before that, big crowds are expected to attend the more than 2,000 No Kings protests in cities big and small in opposition to President Trump's agenda. It comes on the heels of a week where Americans across the nation have already demonstrated against what's happening in their country, and as President Trump issued an ominous warning to those who may protest the parade tonight.
We're going to be celebrating big on Saturday. We're going to have a lot of, and if there's any protest that wants to come out, they will be met with very big force. By the way, for those people that want to protest, they're going to be met with very big force. And I haven't even heard about a protest. But, you know, this is people that hate our country, but they will be met with very heavy force.
Joining us now, Helene Cooper, Pentagon correspondent for the New York Times and an MSNBC political contributor, and former Pennsylvania Congressman and former Marine, Conor Lamb. Congressman Helene, thank you both very much for coming to the weekend. Congressman, I'm going to start with you by reading to you a story by Helene Cooper. This was in the New York Times on Tuesday. Military parade marches into political maelstrom as troops deploy to L.A. And Helene writes, it is a juxtaposition that has military officials and experts concerned. Several current and former Army officials said the military parade and other festivities on Saturday, which is also President Trump's 79th birthday, could make it appear as if the military is celebrating a crackdown on Americans. One Army official, speaking on the condition of anonymity to avoid alienating Mr. Trump, said she would be leaving town during the events. Congressman, as I noted, you are a veteran. Your reaction to what Helene wrote, but also to this split screen moment that America faces today.
It was great reporting. I was suspecting all throughout the build up to this parade that, you know, military leadership has to be horrified by this. They would never ask for something like this. And in fact, in the last Trump administration, they actively opposed it. It's a waste of their time. But more than that, it's awful for the morale of the troops and the image of the military. You know, these guys have to go out in communities all over America, big cities and small towns every day, and recruit new people to join the military and get them ready. And they're people of all different backgrounds and political ideologies and races and people who were born in other countries and all that. And the idea of associating the Army with this one particular president who, you know, is just not all that devoted to our democracy is just horrible for everything else that they have to do. So, you know, I think the split screen is good in the sense that we're showing we still have a very healthy and vibrant political culture here, that Trump has not intimidated people into staying quiet, that they are going to exercise their rights. But he's making it dangerous for them to do so by sort of encouraging that the idea that protests are going to be met with force. It doesn't make any sense.
Helene, Elise here. You did a great interview, long form, on the New York Times daily podcast. And you talked about how there had been years of pushback against this idea of the military parade internally, and until it finally got greenlit this year. And what was the difference, and who actually said, let's go forward with this? The time is right, versus the first Trump administration, when this parade did not happen?
Well, hi, Elise. Hi, Jonathan. Thanks for having me. It's, we all went through the sort of pushback in the first Trump administration, but as we all know and we've seen over the past, 5 months now, we now have a different Pentagon. This is a Pentagon now that has put, and by Pentagon, I mean the political leadership of the Pentagon, has put acquiescence and amplifying of everything that President Trump says at the foremost of its agenda. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has made it very clear that he's not going to follow the role of his predecessors. He's not going to, be a cautionary voice like Mark Esper was, or somebody who sort of stood between President Trump and the military, as Jim Mattis did. So he's been very clear that whatever Trump wants, Trump is going to get. The Army has been planning for their 250th birthday celebration, which is what today is supposed to be. It just happens to also fall on President Trump's 79th birthday. They've been planning for 2 years, they said, for this birthday celebration, which was going to be festivals, and there were going to be like performing bands on the mall and at different bases around the country. But suddenly, about a month after Trump's inauguration, Army officials tell me, and they won't say where it came from, the idea of a parade popped up and was immediately greenlit. So that's where we are now.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, Jim Mattis said that he'd rather drink acid than have a military parade on the streets of Washington, D.C. in that first Trump administration. Congressman, one of the things that I think is really important for people to understand is that this is the reason that folks have an issue, and not just folks on this network, folks in the military, is because it's not happening in a silo, right? Because if there was just a military parade, you still have the folks that didn't want it, you still have the critics, but you also have it happening at a time in which the Marines are in Los Angeles. You have the president going above the governor of California and sending military troops on the streets. You have the president saying what we just showed him saying. So talk about all of these things happening at once and make very clear to people that this isn't, you can both support the military and the folks that are being forced to do this in March today, and have issues with the way that it happened and what's happening around it.
I actually think the people that are marching today are supporting the military more than Donald Trump is. And the reason for that is the Marine Corps in particular, where I served, it's built on values in a culture that just has nothing to do with partisan politics. And it really has to be protected from partisan politics. You have to train up these 18 and 19-year-olds from all these different backgrounds to believe in things like courage and self-sacrifice, and, willingly taking on the hard missions, not being paid a whole lot, values that are kind of countercultural and old. And when Trump does these things to co-opt the military, whether it's what he did at Fort Bragg by making people cheer for him, or sending the Marines into Los Angeles on what is really a vanity project for him, a mission for which they're not trained and for which they did not join the Marine Corps, it starts to look more and more like his plaything, and like it's built on his values, which are really only about himself. That can destroy the culture of an old and very successful organization quickly. And I think when people are speaking out today against what Trump's doing, they're speaking out in favor of service and some of these values that our military is built on.
Helene, I'm going to have you take all of us inside the Pentagon. What is the scuttle at the Defense Department over Marines being deployed to Los Angeles and the streets of an American city? Is there any sort of concerned water cooler talk that this is happening? My hair's been on fire since the first reporting of this, and I just don't seem to see matching hair on fire.
There's a huge amount of concern within the administration, within the Pentagon about President Trump's decision and Pete Hegseth's amplification of this decision to deploy Marines on the streets of Los Angeles. The military is historically supposed to be apolitical and steer clear of this sort of thing. That's why we have in the National Guard. That's why we have law enforcement. We have a Posse Comitatus Act that says that the military is not supposed to get in the conduct any kind of law enforcement in America. This is a military that has been trained for taking on adversaries overseas. One Marine described to me sort of the difference between what they're being asked to do right now and what they are trained to do. And he said National Guardsmen, for instance, and law enforcement are trained to stand there with a shield and stand and take abuse and stand and sort of face off against protesters. They train in this kind of stuff. The DC March National Guard, for instance, trains in this. Marines are trained to take down adversaries. A Marine is trained to, get on your knees, or I will shoot you. The Marines are trained to kill. That is the difference. And so now you're putting Marines in a horrible position. They say this Marine I spoke to was complaining by putting them on the streets of Los Angeles against to face off potentially against protesters. They've sort of carved out. They're skating very close right now to the edge. We've heard from officials that they're not going to be involved in law enforcement. There was an incident yesterday where the Marines briefly detained an Army veteran who was trying to get into the Veteran Affairs building in Los Angeles. But they quickly let him go, and they were there providing protection for that federal building, and that can be part of the mandate. But you can see just by that how quickly things could go south when you're dealing with a protest, which is, I might add, primarily nonviolent, but always there are going to be a couple of people who will start to, who might go the violent route. You're starting to put troops in a pretty tenuous position, and when I spent hours in the Pentagon yesterday, and there's a level of both sort of acceptance, because it's been a tumultuous few months at the Pentagon since President Trump came back into power, and there have been so many firings, there have been so many policy reversals from the past where people feel like they're having whiplash. There's a level of acceptance. We'll just we will go along as long as we legally can with what the commander-in-chief is looking for, but there's also there was some grief there as well.
Helene Cooper and Connor Lamb, thank you so much for joining us. It's important to point out that Los Angeles, the folks in Los Angeles said there's been no coordination with those Marines that are there, that they have not heard heads or tails of it.